Welcome back to the channel, The Real History of Football. This is the 7th in our series, and up to this point I've been walking around the different parts of Sheffield where association football began, using the time as we walk to explain about Sheffield's unique and rich association football history. Football fans know that many places claim to be the true home of football, but where is the actual real home of football? That's the question we're going to try and answer in the next 15 minutes. Yes, this time we appear to be wandering around the graveyard. Sheffield General Cemetery actually, which is about 10 minutes walk west of Bramall Lane. This is where it is. We're in Sheffield, England, of course. Here is Bramall Lane. Here is Sheffield General Cemetery, just below Ecclesall Road, just south of Ecclesall Road. And the reason why we're here, I think, is about to be revealed. If you are a horse racing fan, then you know that Newmarket is the home of horse racing. But why? Horse racing as a sport has happened for centuries, even before the mid-1600s and the time Newmarket's historic racing activity began. The reason is because Newmarket's 1666 town plate race was the first to be run under a globally agreed and properly organised set of rules. Sound familiar? Because of its long history and traditions, a whole cluster of horse racing events and organisations have established themselves around Newmarket, adding to the spiritual feeling that it is justifiably the home of the sport. It has this sense of this is where the organised version of the sport came from and was born. So why is St Andrews the home of golf? Since people were playing golfing type games with balls and clubs back in the 1400s and beyond. Well, in 1754 the Royal and Ancient Golf Club was formed at St Andrews, and so the organised version of the game was born from there. It took them a while, but in 1897 they published a common set of rules for the game. Again, sound familiar? Organisations, clubs, rules, etc. Rugby is the home of rugby, because when the Rugby Football Union set up in 1871, even though it didn't establish itself in rugby, it based its rules on the game originally played at rugby school. Again, it's about tracking back rules and organisation to justify why you give a place the title home of whatever sport. I don't think this linking the home term back to its original organised roots is universal for all sports. I'm certain snooker wasn't originally organised in Sheffield, even though the Crucible is regarded as the home of this sport. But where a place clearly is the sport's origins, it is common to do so and call that place the home of that sport. So where then is the home of association football? We know where its earliest organised roots began, its earliest clubs, matches, rules, tournaments, trophies, etc. So, is it obvious? Maybe not. Football is a global sport, the most popular in the world, and not surprisingly, a lot of places like to claim to be its home. The most famous claim, of course, is Wembley. But why? Yes, Wembley has hosted many important games, but so have many other stadiums around the world since Wembley was originally built in 1923. So why Wembley? And yes, this claim is 66 years after Sheffield FC first kicked an organised ball. So again, I asked the question, why Wembley? Another claim is Highbury. Highbury is actually Arsenal's old ground. And again, why? Please, Arsenal fans, what am I missing? Why is Highbury a ground that no longer exists? Why was it given the term the home of football? Brazil, a whole nation, makes the claim because they have won the World Cups more than anybody else. But what happens when another nation overtakes them? Do they then become the home of football? I guess you can move house, but it all seems a bit flimsy to me. For some reason, Cambridge University don't make the claim, even though they claim the oldest club, the oldest rules, possible good grounds, I would have thought, to make the claim to be the home of football. Maybe the thought of a university being thought of as the home of football is telling, and please refer to some of my earlier videos to see why. Possible lack of credible evidence and evidence of a flourishing football culture, basically. As I've said, lots of places do claim to be the home of football. There are museums like this museum in Madrid. There are websites like this one. And there are even YouTube channels like this one that all claim to be the home of football. There is only one place that can actually claim to be the home of football if we are going to use the origins of the sport's organised past as the minimum bar. So, is it Sheffield? Well, take a look at this and then we'll talk some more. Okay, let's try and inject a bit of scientific analysis into the debate. This is a chart showing the different places that claim to be the home of football and the first in the game's history or significant contributions to its development. When I say first or significant, I mean first like the first match, club or cup ever. We're on that level. I'm sorry, Wembley, but I honestly can't think of anything that can be called the first to happen ever in the game, or anything happening at Wembley that significantly contributed to how the game globally has developed historically. Highbury, well, why is it there? I've Got no idea. I think Brazil's first to win 5 World Cups does actually need a point. As for YouTube and the internet, well, of course, nothing there to note. Sheffield in comparison has 58. 53 are firsts ever in the game. 5 are notable and significant historical contributions to the game's development, like the second ever team or the second ever trophy. Bearing in mind all you've just seen, I did ask my favourite AI, ChatGPT, where the home of football was. And as you can see here, it did say it was in England. And it did say it's in England since modern football was born in 1863 with the formation of the English FA and the birth of the FA Cup in the same year. I didn't throw my laptop out the window, you'll be pleased to hear. ChatGPT also stated that Wembley is referred to as the home of football. I then asked it, was Sheffield the home of football? And although our favourite AI seems to know about Sheffield's footballing credentials, it still cited Wembley as a strong contender for the title due to its history and cultural significance. Finally, I asked it where the home of snooker was, and it said Sheffield. So Sheffield can be the home of a sport it didn't historically create, but not the home of one it did. I think there might be a bit of denial or even snobbery going on here. How dare a provincial town in northern England claim to have invented association football and want to be its official home? What nonsense. Well, if we follow the examples set in sports like horse racing and golf, then the place claiming the oldest rules, clubs, matches, grounds and tournaments, etc. should clinch it. Sheffield has all that and much, much more, as you've seen. Sheffield is the home of football. It's indisputable. It's also time that Sheffield's contribution to the game started to get far more recognition. Less nonsense and more truth, please, everyone. At the end of the day, you decide. Please state in the comments the place you believe should be football's true home. And if you can, also give a reason. Many thanks for watching. If you haven't seen the other videos in this series yet, then please do so. Next time, I want to revisit some of the questions we raised in earlier videos, questions about the history of football in Sheffield that we don't know the answers to, but I hope to shine a little more light upon next time. These are especially the questions that relate to some of our lesser known early clubs. For now, like, comment, subscribe. Till next time.